Hello, everyone. I'm Sis Honey, founder of the Next Generation Project, director, creator, and also starring as the guide in our offering. And I'm so happy to be here with all my friends. Hey, friends. Yes, honey. And today we're going to have basically an open community forum on living for sis, living for sis, oh, living for sis, living for sis. But oh, yes, honey. Well, Antonio, since you're here with me right now, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? What you do?
Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Antonio Lasanta. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm an actor, writer, model, creative. I'm playing Damon in our offering, and I also co-wrote it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad to be here. It's so many beautiful people on the screen right now, so I'm really happy, excited to talk with y'all.
Kaya, you next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kaya Scott. I'm from Houston, Texas as well. I am an actor, singer, songwriter, and painter. I'm playing Andrea Winfrey. My pronouns are she, her. And I got a little ditty for y'all in this show, so be on the lookout. And I'm excited to be here.
Sierra.
Hello, my name is Sierra Harris. I'm an actor, singer, writer. I play Alana on the first national tour of Dear Evan Hansen, and my pronouns are she, her.
Other Sierra.
Hi, I'm Sierra Nicole. My pronouns are they, them, she, her. I'm an actor and a singer. Sometimes I be writing stuff. I don't know. We're trying to do it all over here. I'm from San Antonio, Texas, and I'm so excited to be here and share a story with Black and brown bodies, falling in love, doing normal things, being normal people, being beautiful people.
Tamra.
Hi, my name is Tamra. I am an actor, singer, activist, vegan, abolitionist, and I'm really excited to be here with our offering and to support my good sis and all of my amazing friends in it.
Yasmin.
Hi, I'm Yasmin. My pronouns are she, her. I am an actor, singer, dancer, stage manager, communications director, sales coordinator for the Next Generation Project. And I am so excited to share our offering with everyone later tonight.
Diamond.
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Diamond Essence White. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm an actor, singer, writer, activist, aspiring screenwriter. I was a Zoe Alana standby in Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, and I'm so excited to watch our offering tonight.
Ashton.
Hi, I'm Ashton Muniz. My pronouns are Ashton, they, and he. I'm an actor, performance artist, alien. I do a lot of different things. I play Emery in the show that's happening in a little while. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Gavin.
Hey y'all, I'm Gavin. My pronouns are he, him, for now, is a journey. And I like to say that I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I'm an actor, singer, photographer, dancer, apparently an editor. So yeah, I'm super excited and super proud to be furthering this story and just like able to share it with the whole world. Like, this is awesome, so.
Andrew.
Hi guys. I'm Andrew Barth-Feldman. I use he, him pronouns. I'll be playing John Winfrey in our offering today, and I'm just super excited to be here. And if you need someone to plan your Disney trip when this is all over, hit me up. I'm here. Awesome.
We are going to Disney. We are going to Disney. I just want to let
the plan.
know. I told you on the live. Me and Andrew been playing Kaya Boy, Yasmin. I want y'all to know to save the coin.
We're all going. No, and also come to my house. Also.
Celia.
What's up, beautiful people? My name is Celia Rose Gooding. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I was Frankie in Jagged Little Pill before Miss Carinti hit. I am an actor, a singer, empowered mover, lover of life, freedom, and liberty. Please register to vote. This isn't a game. Happy to be here.
Nikki.
Hi, loves. I'm Nikki Nupp. I use he and they pronouns. I'm originally from Los Angeles, but I moved to New York a year and a half ago. I'm an actor, singer, dancer, trying to make my first album to follow my voice changing on T. A student of the world, of the people, first and foremost. A sex educator, just excited to be here. Play the Milk Dandy in this beautiful production, and I just want more productions to actually show who is actually in the world and who has actually built this world. So thank you for doing that. I'm really excited. Okay, bye.
Kat.
Hey, sorry, I'm having some tech issues over here. My name is Kat. My AirPods are dying, so I might be silent, but I wanted to log in and join the conversation and see all of you amazing people. I am playing Jessie tonight in our offering. I'm so happy to be involved with this piece that everybody has put so much incredible work into. So I'm just really happy to be here.
Yeah, so that's everybody. Basically what I did here is I was like, okay, I'll get some people from the show. I wanted to be like young folk, like who I felt like the industry's next people. Ian couldn't make it today. Oh, I wanted Ian in here so bad. But just like the industry's next people, not just Broadway, like just like the entertainment industry and the creative industry and just where we're moving to. People have everybody on the screen has really inspired me in this process. And just people I've noticed on Twitter, like Diamond, I was like, I want Diamond on the live, honey. We got to chit chat. Sierra, when you wrote that blog post, I was like, yes. So I'm excited. So what I'll probably do is I'll go through and I'll like ask certain questions, and then like 2 or 3 of y'all can answer it. And that's how we'll go down the line. So the first question I have is identity. And where do y'all draw the line between identity and your creative self? Or is that line together? Like, is that connected? I hope that makes sense. So which group of folk wants to go? Everybody said, oh.
I'll talk. I think for me, my art is very much, but in different facets, there's different facets of myself artistically that I think there's a line there, but I think there's some things that are very much me. Like I would say like my acting career, I think that there's a line between me and that version of me. But I think like musically, I think like that's something that I hold very dear to my heart, is a big representation of who I am as a person. So I think for me specifically, I don't, I can't answer for everyone, but I think the medium in which I choose to put out, some of it, there is a line, and I think some of it is the same, if that makes sense. I know it's a short answer, but.
Yes, I agree. I would say for me too, it's very similar. Like it's a combination of both things, but I think my art allows me to delve deeper into facets of my identity that I haven't been able to explore, especially society-wise, maybe like versions of myself that maybe people don't see me as, or I haven't felt comfortable to explore. I can do that in my art, and I can take it to like the next level. But it is kind of in the same realm that I use both. I need both to do both kind of thing. Yeah.
That's something I've also kind of been discovering lately, because like when I was doing the Dear Evan Hansen situation, like at the beginning of it, I think I was trying to blur the line, and I quickly realized A, how dangerous that is, and B, how unhelpful it is, because you lose control over the performance. And in a show, especially like Dear Evan Hansen, you need a certain level of control. But during this quarantine, I've been able to do all this creative, weird stuff like music and, like Broadway Jackbox and Broadway Whodunit and all these like stuff that I love that feels so much more like me. And I think that's sort of the same thing as I feel like I came into quarantine as like the kid who was Evan Hansen, and I'm leaving as myself, which I think is really, really kind of nifty. And I also feel much more comfortable as a creator because I can elevate other people, and that's always like my greatest joy.
That is, oh, see, Celia, go.
I just had to piggyback off what you said, Andrew. The idea of coming into quarantine as like this kid who is sort of this mixture between person and character, not really understanding where the character begins and the person actor ends, and coming out of it as a completely different person. I feel like being young people and being young creatives, it's so overwhelming and so fun that like you're like, maybe I can bring all of the creative self into my personal self because it feels so good. And then once you don't have that creative self, you're like, wait, where am I? And I think during quarantine, we're all, well, speaking from the I have been very much like, what am I doing? Where am I? Who am I? Where am I going? What brings me joy? And then being able to find the things in quarantine that are creative things, but also things that I do authentically and for my own joy and for my own peace. Finding that and then being able to bring that out of quarantine is something I'm really excited about.
And yes, that, you know, that hit different, Andrew, that you said that, because even with my identity, I was like watching like my first like Living for Sis video with Ari, and I was like, that person was like this person who was like trans and bi for their creative purpose. Like I literally like moved to New York, and I was like, okay, I've been non-binary, and then I like within living in New York, going from couch to couch, being crazy in the New York streets, like trying to make it. I was like, okay, I'm trans, like I'm finding myself out. But what is that word when somebody like, I guess, capitalized on, like going into these auditions and having to like mark myself as this. And so therefore I was not finding that for my identity. I was finding it for my, I guess, my creativity, or I was finding it for another stuff. So now at the end of this quarantine, I'm like looking at myself now and I'm like, oh, but you a woman. Like you got it together now. Like that's sis, like we understand her and we get that. And so I totally understand what you said, Andrew, about that. You came into it. I felt like I was just trying to fit myself into this industry, and now I am the industry. Like period. So, or I am my industry, speaking for the I, we are all our industry. So yes. So the next question I want to talk about is community. Community is the biggest thing that I have learned about this time that we have had to spend in our thoughts. And that I am so happy to see like people that I went to school with versus like people that we marveled on while y'all were on Broadway, you know what I mean, in this room together and building this community. Because if we don't work together and we don't share this information and share notes, and y'all don't let us know what's going on there, we don't let you know what's going on here, we're not going to move forward. So let's speak about community. What does that mean to y'all in this moment versus what it meant to y'all months ago?
I think the shutdown has been so interesting because I moved to New York in January, so I was like fresh off the boat. I would live there for 2.5 months before going home and then coming back. But seeing shows and having friends there and like living my post-grad life in the city, it's interesting because going to auditions, seeing people that I like know of and like auditioning alongside them, taking dance classes alongside them. And now once everything is stripped away, like there's no Broadway, there's no theater, we're all just sitting in our house. So not to say that like people were necessarily on a pedestal, but it's so interesting to be like, we're all just people, we're all just trying to do our art. We all have different backgrounds, but like we all have that in common, that we have different backgrounds. So to be on this Zoom call with my best friends from college, and then these like incredible people that I've seen perform on Broadway, and to be in a show with them, and like stage managing our offering has been so crazy because at the first rehearsal, the first read through, I called a 10, which was the first time I ever did that also. And it says like Anthony Lee Medina, Renee Rapp, Andrew Barth Feldman, like thank you 10. And I was like, how incredible. Like I'm just like a stage manager and they're just my actors, and like that's what we're doing. And we're all just really like, we are the community. The community isn't Sam Houston State Musical Theater. It's not Huntsville, Texas. It's not New York City. It's everywhere.
to add to that, it's so funny because like when COVID hit, we were like forced to like be apart, but I've never felt so close, like to like just fellow actors to fellow Black actors. Like during this quarantine, like the sense of community has been like really, for lack of a better word, I guess, healing in a way, to like be able to connect with actors with similar experiences, and we could talk and like just encourage each other, actors who are above me, who I look up to, able to talk to them and learn from them. It's just, I don't know, this quarantine, it just feels like we all just came together, and it's been like super healing and like super refreshing, because before now it felt very separate, and it really feels like a community these days.
And just to piggyback off of both those points, I think that the shutdown for the theater industry has really been like a big equalizer among all the different communities and people who have like really thrived within the system that was set up in the theater community, and the more marginalized creators and actors and directors and performers and writers who always kind of had to struggle and fight to be heard. I think now that nothing is happening, it's easier for people to not be afraid to sort of point out all of the issues that have been really prevalent within our industry for so long. So it's been a nice opportunity for people of marginalized communities to be able to band together and say like, hey, this wasn't working before, and we can't go back to the way that it was whenever our industry comes back. Like you have to let us in, and you have to make room at the table.
Yeah, honestly, like I think that is the part that's like not like, how did this happen? Like, how is God so good to allow us? I feel like true growth is happening. I felt like we were all like a couple months ago, we were all like, yeah, this is what it is. We here. But now we're like, oh, we talking. We're having these conversations. And I don't know who it was, but someone made a tweet. So so now caveating, I guess taking it to, I wanted to talk a little bit about Dear Evan Hansen. For me, I feel like Dear Evan Hansen is a show that is so just like at its base level about some kids, about some kids in high school doing what kids do. You know what I mean? Loving, lying, like, there's tragedy, like you deal with it, you know what I mean? And like for that show to have, and for its success to have been where it was, and for us to still not be in the narrative, for us to still, and this is no shade, no tea to Andrew, because I love Andrew, but a 16-year-old white boy got that up. Like, do y'all remember the day everybody found out that Andrew got cast as Evan? Like, it was like, now wait a minute, the girls were shook. But and thank God now Andrew has that platform and that ability, and he's changed lives with that, but it's just like to see ourselves consistently not be a part of this narrative. And then, like there has been, I guess, like Jordan was the last full-time Evan and the shutdown happened. And I just want to talk to y'all about that. And I want to talk to Diamond and Sierra and Andrew too. Like, what was that? How is that? Like, I saw that picture with you, Sierra, and you were on the stage, and I know this definitely happened for you, Diamond, the only Black girl. Like the only Black person on the stage. You had to carry your whole, and then I want to talk to you, Celia, because you are, how is it like being out there with all and you look around, you're like, like it must be something. Like, so let's talk about that, and let's talk about it.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I'll go first because this is hilarious. Yeah, it's fascinating because I'll tell you what. From my experience, I didn't think it would be. I've taught myself to normalize being the only Black person in a space, right? I'm used to it. So getting Dear Evan Hansen, I was conditioned to be like, oh, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that I'm the darkest person in this room, that they gave this chocolate chip this chance, right? So when I first got the job, it was that. It was like, it's okay. Like, I'm okay with this. Like, I wasn't the only Black person, but I was the darkest person. And that was very noticeable to me. And I thought of it as like, I'm lucky. And then eventually I was like, this is incredibly disorienting. It's super alienating. I don't feel as 100% safe as I could if there were more people behind the table who looked like me, who I could trust were making the right decisions for me. But it's fascinating because, you know, in this pandemic, it's highlighted that it is the great white way. Like, we are used to working with white people. We are not used to representation. Therefore, our expectations are low. Like, I didn't even realize that nobody takes care of my hair, and they're supposed to be taking care of my hair. And that never crossed my mind because I'm like, why would I expect them to take care of my hair? I'm Black. It's like little things like that I'm like, oh wow, but there are people next to me who are getting better treatment than me because they're afraid to learn about me. They're afraid to help me. You know, it's the ignorance of like, they want to do the right thing, sure, but they're uncertain of how to take the step. So they don't want to ask questions and they don't want to learn. So then they don't do it. I don't know how to do your hair. I feel awkward about asking you how to do your hair. So we're just not going to hire someone who knows how to do your hair. It's that kind of thing. And instead of making me feel like, oh, they just don't want to fuck up, it makes me feel like they don't care. And that's what we need to be more vocal about, because they don't get that. You know, the people whose intentions are good, they don't get that their ignorance is loud and that it alienates us. So I think for me, it was like a journey, because in the beginning, I didn't even really see it as a problem. I was like, great, good, I'm in here. You know, we're here, that's it. And like what you're saying before, but it's like, no, but now we're here. And you actually have to listen to us. And like, when you hire Black bodies, you hire Black bodies as they are, and like learn how it is to accommodate us. And that's, I feel like, what's been happening behind the scenes now, like learning how to fully hire us, not just make us the diversity point, you know? So that's my tea about that.
To speak on that, so when I joined Dear Evan Hansen, I was still with the original cast minus Ben. So like at that point, there was no Sky. It was just one Black character. It was only Alana. And to speak to that, like there was a time when I was going on stage with only white people. And it did feel very alienating. And like Sierra said, like my first Broadway show, I'm with the original cast. I'm extremely blessed. How can I complain? How can I say anything? How can I talk about these microaggressions that I'm hearing every 2 seconds? Like, how can I say anything? And it took a very long time. It took at least a year for me to like finally like speak up for myself. Like, hey, why am I not going on for Zoe, a part that I cover? But like, you, like, no shade to nobody, but like you hired someone who's white and she gets to go on. I've been here for a year. Why am I not going on as Zoe? No clear answer ever given. Like it was just, the experience of Dear Evan Hansen for me, you know, as it had its equals, you know, it was very balanced. It had its bad, it had its good. For me, as traumatic as some experiences were, I do appreciate being there because it taught me a lot about myself and my own Black identity, what I will and will not stand for ever again. There was a time when I like questioned, do I want to be on Broadway anymore? Like if I ever have to deal with this again. But now I understand a little better coming from that experience with all white people, my own Black identity, what cannot stand, microaggressions cannot stand, any kind of racism in this workplace cannot stand. Like I had to buy extensions for my hair because my hair got so messed up because they didn't know how to work with it. I had to cut it all off after I left the show to figure out how to make it healthy again. Like it's just stuff like that. Like they really need to learn how to accommodate Black artists. If you're going to have us here, you need to be mindful that we are here. It's not the same as dealing with your white artists. You have to be mindful that we're here. That was a lot.
That wasn't a lot. That was silenced. And so that needed that truth that needed to be told. I want to say right now, because I find even with our offering, it came in my head about like, why didn't you make this like all Black? Like, why didn't you do that? This is how I feel. White people got us into this motherfucker and they gonna get us out of this motherfucker because we didn't do this shit alone and we not getting out alone. So every time I do some work, y'all gonna see everybody in here because we got to work together. So to that, and how, Andrew, I'm gonna ask you this. How, as being the cis white male in the chat, how do you think in this quarantine, and if you haven't yet, how do you feel like when you are in these spaces, how can you help us out? Like how, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when we're literally when we're in these spaces, like right now, I just kind of try to listen. I take notes if there are things that are particularly standing out to me. You know, sis, you've been helping me so much with my play that I've written with Gabby Karuba and that I'm now completely rewriting, but that's another story. So it's you know, it's finding, because as this is all happening, I'm also finding my personal voice as a creator. So I'm so fortunate that I get to find that voice while we're having this conversation, because the two can be completely synonymous with each other, and I can be both a creator and an activist at the same time, and be an activist in my work. So that's been something that has been so, I'm just so thankful that I didn't find one without the other, and that I get to use my storytelling voice as my activist voice, both of which I've always sort of had, but I've gotten to grow them together now. But in terms of when we're in these spaces, you know, I can speak to my own stories. I can say, I can be honest and candid, which I've tried to be about my own experiences as a cis, white, straight male. But the most I think I can do here is listen to everything that you guys have to say and everything that's been written that's so beautiful, and then give my all as a performer so that I can do whatever I can to if I have any place to elevate anything in this experience, anything in this space, I want to be able to do it.
And we'll hold you to it.
Please.
Period. And so now I want to do a caveat of Celia, real quick, did you want to speak on that? Okay.
I think, well, to agree with Sierra and Diamond, that feeling of like when you first get the job, you're like, oh my God, they gave me a chance. I'm worthy, finally. And so then that feeling of like, oh, well, they picked me, they want me. I have been so used to being around white people and making myself silent for the sake of white comfort that like, that must have been what got me here. So that's what's gonna keep me here. And that is the most dangerous part, at least in my opinion. The feeling of like, oh, I was so complacent, I was so kind, I let it all slide before, and that must be why I'm here, as opposed to all of these other, without sounding ignorant, loud Black folk. So that's what makes me different. That's what makes me special. So as long as I keep that, I'll continue to book, I'll continue to be worthy, I'll continue to be the token, I'll continue to be what must be the great thing about Broadway. And then I learned that at 16. I was the first Black principal in the original Broadway cast of Jagged Little Pill at the age of 16. Young, dark-skinned Black girl going to a predominantly white school, already dealing with the microaggressions of just young people who are not Black and don't know how to really treat Black people, me trying to figure out how to navigate that space, then being put into a completely different professional place, and I have to deal with the icon who is my mother, who is also trying to navigate that space. And she's still the one who pulled me aside and was like, listen, if something is wrong, it's wrong. And do not let the sake of like other people's comfort keep you from speaking out on what you feel is personally wrong, because then if it keeps going and going and going, if you call it out later, they're gonna flip on you and say, well, why didn't you point it out sooner? And then that becomes an internal identity crisis of like, oh God, should I have said something? Why didn't I say something? Now they're mad at me. I should have never said anything in the first place. This is my fault. And then it's just, there's so much learning and unpacking of realizing that the reason why you were brought into a room is because of what you have to offer and because of what you have to say. So silencing yourself is completely negating the reason why you were here in the first place. And finding that in my dark skin Blackness surrounded by white people was terrifying. It was so scary trying to figure it out because I didn't have anyone to look to behind the table, next to me, in my similar position where I could be like, hey, how do I navigate this space? So trying to do that on your own as Black people in these creative spaces is really difficult. And plus I in my experience, have been made to feel like asking questions makes me look unprofessional. Meanwhile, no one knows what's happening. And I don't want to have to be the spokesperson, but I have to because no one else decided to bring someone in the space to take the load off of me. So it's so much that I'm still learning to do. And as Andrew said, I'm finding my activist voice and my creative voice at the same time, which is something I'm really, really grateful for. And I'm finding the voice to empower myself and other Black communities that I personally don't belong to. It's just trying to put it all together, which is difficult and messy. And it would be a lot easier if there were other Black folk who brought us into the rooms and said, hey, this is what we're doing. I see you, you see me, we're gonna get through this together. That was something that just, it's a lot of information and and I can't provide a solution to it, but just that feeling is something that I think if everyone in the space is made aware that that is how some person can feel in that situation, then we can go towards resolving it or finding a way where the transition from being the only Black person in the space to being one of many Black people in the space, it just, as long as we're aware of how alienating that experience can be sometimes when you are alone, then we can work towards making safer spaces for our actors. Because once we feel safe, then we can do our best work. I believe a cat has just entered my room. Yep, that's Sushi. Everyone say hi. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, totally. And just like all we have at the end of the day are our stories and our offerings. That's all we can give. That's all is our stories. That's at the end of the day, that's all we can offer. So the next caveat is let's talk about queerness in this space, which is the industry. And I'm going to like specifically like to talk to you, Kat and Nikki. So the Catch-22 is like being a part of one minority group, but also being a part of the other group that's oppressing everybody. You know what I mean? So, you know, I found it really interesting. So when it came time to do, like being in the city and it was like queer people, we're looking for queer folk. Queer white folk get in the room so much easier than queer Black folk. Like, it's like the racism is like, times two. It's so interesting why it's so much more palatable for them. Like a Black trans woman is like you're a lot, but like just a white trans man or a white trans woman or a white non-binary person is just like, okay, that's palatable. What? Why is that? And how are y'all going to? How are we going to move forward in that, using our queer voices in these queer bodies? Because we got to stand up for each other. And Ashton, tell me, do you feel that way? How do you feel?
Yes. I want to hear some feedback first.
Yeah. Should I pop in? Okay. No, absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think something that for me personally, as a white, like non-binary transmasculine person, I find myself obviously like with a lot of privilege, even within like a marginalized group of people, like within the trans community, I know that I hold a lot of privilege like within that group. And so after my second year in the city, after I got like my equity card and an agent, and I started feeling more confident in myself as a performer, I realized that I like had a responsibility in myself as well to kind of make sure